Pleasant people. My father was an electrician. My mother was a chemist. I went to college at Boston College in Boston. When I finished school, I wanted to do something in the sales world. I ended up being a sales representative after I finished my time in the military. From the military, I worked on an aircraft carrier and spent most of our time in the Mediterranean with leave time in major cities of Europe. The only problem was really there was the beginning of what may have been a war didn't happen, which was the Lebanese and Suez, called Lebanese and Suez War, which never came to fruition. My tour of duty was not extended, which is the great concern when you go to war. No, when I finished the military, I went to work for Procter & Gamble. I was in the sales department. Left Procter & Gamble, I went to work for a pharmaceutical company, Merck and Company, and they bought a consumer products company called Calgon. I was living in Boston, and I moved to New Jersey, and then eventually had to move to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to be a part of that company. The physical problems, probably knee, as a result of college football, the effect of sun. As an Easterner and light complexion in the West, there is much more sun, and sunburns have caused some problems that have been solved by a dermatologist. I've had probably a half a dozen surgeries to remove squamous, which is a type of problem from too much sun. The termination really came when the military called. In my generation, everybody had to do a minimum of 2 years active duty, and anything that I planned to do was limited by that requirement. Lucky to have great grandparents, great children. Lucky to the company expanded, and they needed help in areas where they were growing, so we moved from Boston to New Jersey, from New Jersey to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania to the San Francisco area. I think just the ability to adjust to change, which they have done very well. In the Navy, I was on an aircraft carrier and worked in the air control facility, which affected planes taking off and planes returning to the aircraft carrier in the Mediterranean. No, I was the coordinator of which planes went off and which planes were still airborne. When you could not identify a plane returning, it usually resulted in a plane that had crashed someplace. Well, the hardest part probably is learning the products that you were involved with, and then communicating to the retailer who was a potential buyer of those products. Probably the biggest moment was at that time finding a job, as there weren't an awful lot of them at the time. Lucky. I've been pretty lucky, both with job and family.